Welcome to this episode of Woman Powering E-Commerce. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday as I take you behind the scenes of my journey as a female e-commerce entrepreneur. Together, we'll explore the highs, the lows, inspiring you to take action and achieve your own business goals. So let's get started. All right, so I have a little bit of food for thought for you today. And I'm just going to share with you a reflection I've had in the last couple days. And that is, you know how we've pretty much all heard, I think, up until now, about the 4-hour week concept. And then there's the other extreme of the hustle culture, which I'll call. So my question was, okay, well, what is the balance between the 4-hour work week philosophy and the ever persistent hustle culture in business, or we can apply this to the e-commerce. So it's just a question I've been asking myself, like, should I just try and stick in between? Because I feel like I tried both ends, and I've seen good things and I've seen bad things on both sides. So lately I've been just trying to reflect on, is there a way where I can live sort of in the middle? And the reason why I came up with this is just because in 2013, I was working 2 jobs and trying to grow my e-com business on the side. So I don't know how many hours I was working in a week, but I can tell you I had zero social life. All I did was work, eat, and sleep. But I was doing it in the hopes of sacrificing my quality of life now to be able to live off those time investments later on. I didn't mind. I didn't mind at the time. I found it challenging, but I knew like better days were up and ahead of me. So I also grew up learning that being busy is something that's valuable. I think that can be very debatable, but I'm just saying that's how I grew up, and being busy was considered as good. No matter what you're doing, as long as you're busy and working your butt off, then you're good, So efforts were actually being more valued than the results. I could put it that way. Today, I would agree to disagree. I always put a lot of pressure on myself with the school and work in general, having that belief and mindset in mind. I definitely had high standards for myself. And the issue with that is that eventually that it caught up. The pressures of what the hustle culture, because that's it. You just work until you drop dead kind of thing. So that hustle culture that's surrounding me finally led me to burnout, fatigue, and just feeling of never doing enough, because there's just so much you can do as one human being alone. And so, yeah, I just eventually one day I realized, okay, I went overboard. It could have been much worse, but I think I'll say the intelligence to just stop before it was too late. So from learning from others, from seeing others, really fall deep into a depression and things like that. So I don't think it was my case, but I definitely burned myself out. So I discovered and read the 4-Hour Week book many years ago. I mean, that's the first book that made me realize, yeah, you could not work as much and still be successful. But there are so many other books today that you can read that really preach that concept. And when I found out about that book and the concept and everything that could be done, I really realized it could be my ticket to freedom and growth. I knew it wouldn't be possible today. I'd have to work towards that. But I told myself, well, if Tim Ferriss did it, I could do it too. So why not? I just have to figure it out. So from there, I tried to implement the 4-hour work strategies in my e-commerce business that I was starting at the time and having my 2 jobs on the side. I was trying to think, how can I transition to working so much to working very little and still be successful? We grew the team with time. We started very little. I did my best to hire as quickly as possible in making sure it's still reasonable. But as soon as we could, we hired, we grew the team. And that's when I delegated more and more. That's when I learned about the power of delegation and realizing that it's definitely one key to that 4-hour week concept. So I started working part-time also in my e-commerce business. Eventually, not at the beginning, but eventually it allowed me to do that. And not so long ago, a couple of years ago, it allowed my husband and I to take a full month off, for example, fly to Greece during COVID, or it was like in a good time in between in 2021. So I was grateful. I was so grateful. It was also the best vacation I've had. Like it felt so nice to be able to disconnect, knowing our businesses were still, functioning with very little attention. So that was great. I felt like I remember the time when we started and when I was working and hustling, and to now, like being able to just disconnect if needed and things still functioning. However, I have to say I'm changing a little bit my thinking around that concept because, and I'll explain. I love the 4-hour week concept. And when I say the 4-hour week, I don't mean that I work only 4 hours a week. It's the philosophy around which you don't need to work like 40, 80 hours a week to actually do something great out of your life. You can, you don't need to spend all your time at work. Okay. And I do work full time right now, running 2 businesses. And I still kind of put that into the 4-hour week concept. So, but I'm just saying I'm not working 80 hours a week right now. And I'm working that 40-ish hours a week and loving it. I'm doing it because I'm happy to do it and not because I have to do it. I've structured things in a way that I don't have to work much more than that if I don't want to. However, I've recently found a gap in this concept, or maybe it's just that I haven't mastered this concept completely yet. I'll see with time, but I'm just sharing my life reflections and where I'm at in my journey right now. So we'll see where all of this leads me. But I'm just discovering that either extreme is not good. I think that trying to reach a balance in between is great. And I think that working right now, I'll consider that I'm working full time, and I still think it's a good balance. I wouldn't work less while trying to grow our businesses. And just like when you start a business and you need to put in those extra hours to kick things off, if you're wanting to grow your business, sometimes it just feels like you need to put in that extra work. We're trying to grow our businesses, and I'm sure, 100% sure, that there's a way to grow your businesses while not having to work that much. Why? Because a lot of people out there will own tens and so many businesses. So of course they're not working full-time in every single business, right? They found a system. I'm just saying I haven't found the system yet. I have ideas. I'm working towards certain things, but I don't think I've unlocked that system yet. But right now I feel like I still need to hustle a little bit more. And sometimes it'll be in phases. 1 week I'll hustle more. The other I can take it a little bit slower. But if I want to get my businesses up to speed of where I want them to be in a few years, I think I just have to put in the work sometimes. There's no way around it. We're always looking, I think, as a human being, the quickest and fastest way to get somewhere. But I think sometimes there's just no easy way, and you just have to put the work into it. So right now, that's where I'm at. And balancing the need for rest and self-care with the ambition to grow and scale is kind of challenging, and I'm learning to do it, but I'm sure I'll find the way, and I'll adjust my life as we go to get there. So what I can say, what I learned up until now with reflecting on those 2 extremes, well, what I can see is that neither extreme is sustainable. An actual 4-hour workweek concept will be unrealistic for most, while working nonstop can also lead to burnout. So you just have to live in neither extremes. It's also about setting yourself boundaries. So learning to say no, prioritizing tasks, and also making sure you set some time apart for yourself, for some self-care. Very important. And maybe this is my biggest takeaway. Flexibility is definitely key. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes you'll need to hustle and other times you need to delegate and rest, which is fine. I think you have to find your balance in there. Another thing that I'm learning is that you define your own success. It's essential to measure a success by your own metrics, your own means, not by others' standards or by comparing yourself to others, because every situation is unique. We don't aspire to all the same things. And I mean, everyone is in a unique position. And I think that I need to remember that all the time. And my last point would be this one. I need to remember to stay grounded to my why. Remembering the reason why I started my e-commerce business, why I started the SaaS business with my husband, why we're into all kinds of projects. Remembering your why, the reason, your mission, why you're doing everything you're doing can help you make decisions aligned with your goals and values. So these are some of the lessons I learned from my latest thinking time, I could say, around this those two concepts. And I think this wraps up the episode. If you like this episode, share, subscribe to the podcast, and join me on the next episode as we delve deeper into the e-commerce world. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. I hope you gained valuable insights and inspiration today to keep growing and taking action towards your goals. Please follow me on social media and remember to like, share, and comment this video. Subscribe to get notifications every time a new video is uploaded. See you next time.